I think today I'm just trying to go back to the adventurer I was younger. Embracing itinerancy as a way to explore the world and connect with my surroundings through effort. However, ultracycling is not just about that. To me, it all comes down to grow. Getting to a place where I get to meet with, learn about, spend time with, and connect with myself. My plan was to create the most efficient route across all the col of the Tour de France in the Alps. So it's a 800 kilometers ride with 18,000 meters of elevation, and I want to do it under 48 hours, so 2 days. So the idea behind this project was in part to highlight the contrast, to try to reinterpret what the tour could be. So the Tour de France is some stages, flat hills and mountains. And I wanted to only focus on mountains because I really love this part. And the idea was to create my own challenge in the theme of the Tour de France. The first part of the project was to create the route. I discovered the 2024 stages and all the cols in the Alps. I identified the stage 4, 17, 18, 19, 20 and 21 and began to craft a route across them. Ultracycling is about riding very long distances in one go and without external support. So for this challenge, I chose to ride those stages as close as possible and climb the 18 alpine cols of the Tour in one go, including the transfers in between. The second step was to foresee all the public refueling points available on the route. To get close to the ultracycling spirit, I didn't receive any material support. So I had to look for bakeries, fountains, toilets and restaurants. For an 800 km ride, it's quite a tedious process, but it's really helpful to save some time and avoid any mistakes such as running out of supplies in the middle of the night. So, in my case, I spent hours doing this planification. So sometimes it's really tiring, and when I start the ride, I'm just really happy because this period can end. This part of the process is also kind of helping me to project myself into the ride, and so it can be also a mental tool to approach the difficulties and be more peaceful about it. For this ride, I will have like a lot of climbs, but still, I really want to use some aerobars because I can use different positions, and I can also set a lot of bags onto it. The aerobars weight only 490 grams. I will set up a special bag, a bag I created. So basically it's a top tube bag, which I remove the bottom, and I'm attaching it onto the aerobars like this. So it remains aero, and also it offers me a super nice space to store anything, such as clothes or food or anything. So I really love this kind of DIY small bags. This is the favorite piece of my setup. It's a flower pot. I use it to carry things right in front of me. at the best pace on my bike, which is behind the aero bars. So this is really convenient, and the setup is really minimalistic. I just need one zip tie and it's done. I will set the rest of the bags. I will use this top tube with electronics and a few other things. I will have this one for the saddle with some tools, but also some equipment for the night. And then the main one, the frame one from Tailfin, which I will use to put some clothes, but also some food and a whole bunch of things. I didn't switch a lot of things from the stock bike, only the handlebar, the saddle and the tires. I will be using 30mm sections. And now I only have to charge my pedals, my power pedals, and that's it.
Ouais, je m'apprête à faire 5 étapes du Tour de France dans les Alpes.
C'est lequel?
On commence par l'étape 4, qui commence à Pinerolo, donc en Italie ici, qui finit à Valloire. Moi je finirai juste avant au Galibier, je fais que la montée, j'aurai pas le droit de faire la descente côté Valloire. Et ensuite on va sur l'étape 18, 19, 20 et 21. Dont les 3 dernières que je vais faire vraiment entièrement, la Embrun-Isola et la Nice Col de la Couilleule, ainsi que Monaco-Nice, c'est le contre-la-montre. Et donc ça va me faire 18 cols environ, ou 18 cols du Tour de France. Il faudrait que je les recompte.
Now I think the first pedal stroke is a relief because it closed the first chapter of the ride. It closed the chapter of planification. It opens up something where even if you're prepared, there is a lot of uncertainty.
Right now I'm really struggling to know like what I should feel right now, because I'm not in a race and I feel absolutely no pressure, no stress. It's only the only positive thing.
In the first kilometers, I was really happy. I was really looking forward to go to the main passes, especially the Galibier. There was also a few questions like, would it be possible to go through those passes, because some of them were still closed, or there were some walks along the route. So there was a bit of intrigue into the ride and knowing if I would be able to do it without any problems. The Galibier opened just 1 week before the ride, and it got closed again because of an avalanche, and so it was closed right before the ride. So when I started the ride, I didn't know if the Galibier would be open. So when I was climbing, I was still a bit in the fear, and during the day I learned that it was reopened. So it was completely fine at the beginning because they opened the road to the tunnel, but the last part of it, the last kilometer, it was still closed because of the risk for avalanche. And so I still went under the barriers and did this 1 kilometer on the closed road, and I tried to be as fast as possible and just go back to the main road.
a bit cold. Yeah, it's 4 degrees. I've seen warmer. Mais bon, franchement, incroyable. J'ai mis un peu moins de 6 heures pour rejoindre le Galibier. Je pense que les pros auront mis bien moins de temps que moi. Mais bon, je suis content. Mais je vais pas trop traîner parce que chaque seconde passée, c'est un peu plus de froid. Donc, je vais y aller. Allez, c'est reparti. Ciao à toi. Bien joué. It's quite risky, so I won't stay a long time here. Bonjour, j'aimerais commander un porte-nuit s'il vous plaît. Je vais juste vous prendre un wrap César et des tenders, 5 tenders poulet, un petit pot. Oui, et puis ensuite une petite frite. Très bien monsieur, bon bah à tout à l'heure, à tout de suite. Merci, au revoir. A bit tired now.
Bonsoir.
Je suis le cycliste que vous avez eu au téléphone.
Ah,
Pour la petite commande.
la petite commande. Oui. Et voilà. Bah, c'est tout bon pour moi. Est-ce que vous voulez des sauces?
Non, ça ira, c'est gentil.
Non.
Non.
Eh ben, c'est tout bon pour moi.
Merci, bonne soirée.
Merci à vous. Bonne soirée. Au revoir.
So the first night, I was a bit anxious in the beginning of it. I think I always, when the sun goes down and it becomes dark, I always have a bit of apprehension. And this time it hits me well, especially with a dog that chased me. And in the dark, when the dog barks at you really close and run next to you when you are sprinting, it's kind of scary, and it gave me, a kind of fear mood. So the beginning of the night wasn't so easy, and it became also really cold near Devoluy. You need to have a lot of focus to take not any risk, because you are alone. In some way, you are alone in the night, and so if something happens, then you have no security nets behind you. And so I think it's mostly linked to animals, descents, crashing, but the cold is the things you need to fight for most of the time, and also tiredness.
If I were in a race, that moment wouldn't happen. I would have
go straight to the next climb. But yeah, here I try to take some more time, try to do the things correctly and try not to rush things. I did 340 kilometers with 7,400 meters of elevation gain. How long? 15 hours. Yeah, I'm quite happy. The beginning of the night was so tough. I was really asking myself what I was doing, how could I do it, how could I do it in the future. So I'm still tired because it's 4 a.m. Juste là. Ben, j'attends que la boulangerie ouvre. Il est 54, elle ouvre à 6h. Je suis arrivé un peu tôt. Allez, c'est reparti. It's 9 a.m. and I finally woke up. It took a long time. I feel like this morning was tougher than tonight. And the Col de la Bonnette, I knew it was a long climb, but also I knew it was a really beautiful climb. So I was really happy to approach it, and I think I was really waiting on that moment. So Vars was the toughest one to start with in the morning because I was really tired, and La Bonnette was more a different kind of experience. It was really a moment out from the rest of the ride. I just completed the most beautiful climb of my life. The pass was completely clear to the top, and it was in the last part of the descent that there was some works on the road. And when I arrived, the road was completely closed, so there was some trucks along the way. I met the workers and I explained the project, and thankfully the person in charge, he was a cyclist himself, and so he let me pass and I could go on with the adventure thanks to that. It was just nice to share the passion, and so it was like a critical moment where you're thinking you cannot move on and that the ride is at risk, but in the end you end up just sharing your passion with a nice person on the way and create some nice souvenir and a crazy story to tell also.
Within the same time, I went from really hot temperature to really cold rain. Mountain is just amazing. But I'm still climbing, so I'm still warm. But nice weather. You have a second? You have a second? I'm doing all the course in the Alps of the Tour de France.
Ah, okay.
In one row as an ultra cyclist. So doing like the same kind of a Rico. You doing the same thing?
I was here altitude, but yeah, we look at the big 19 and 20 obviously.
Yeah.
Makes sense for the training anyway, you know?
This one is crazy though. Like I did today Bath and Bonnet.
Oh yeah,
And
big day.
yeah. But
Also,
my day started yesterday. I haven't slept for like 25 hours.
oh really?
I'm like 500 kilometers right now.
Why?
I'm a little protected. This is what I do. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a tribute to the tour.
Yeah.
And yeah, for me it's a nice way to connect.
Is that food?
Yeah, but it's always tricky, you know? I cannot carry 80 grams of carbohydrates per hour for 48 hours. So I need to buy some stuff to carry a lot of food. And
How far do you go now? How far up?
so I do the finish of the stage.
Yeah.
Then I turn back and go to knit.
Create some food, some gels or jelly chew or something.
You have one? With the team?
No.
It's super rainy. Don't bother.
I'll grab some and I'll
Hey.
more than that, mate. Do a fucking case. Oh, for you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Bunker, nice.
Get that down here.
Huh?
Get that down here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Good luck, right?
Yeah, you too. Have a nice preparation.
I got called by one person who was Geraint Thomas. And so we shared a few words together. I explained him what I was doing. And so, yeah, no, that was a crazy moment. And in the descent, I even crossed routes with Tadej Pogačar, who was also doing some training in the climb. So it was a crazy moment.
Tadej Pogačar.
I was really feeling really low in the climb, but the end of it was just crazy high. And that day, in the end, it was really a succession of high and lows, and it was really funny to always surf on that. Meeting those two riders during the Isola climb was just crazy, and it just gave so much sense to the project I was making. And it was pure luck to just cross those two champions. I think I learned with my past experiences to be able to just let the highs and lows go for me, and to just continue to pedal whatever happens. And I always know that's a low as a start and an end as well as a high. And this is always the philosophy, the words I always repeat to myself when I'm feeling bad.
parti pour la dernière nuit. Yeah, I'm getting closer to the end, so it's helping a lot, I think, mentally. I know I won't cycle a full day after.
I really believe, like, even if you feel completely exhausted, you can still bounce back. And it happened to me the second night, so the last morning of the challenge. It was 4 a.m. I was feeling so exhausted. I was looking for a place to sleep, just 15 minutes to have a little bit of rest. And I started to think about something else and of my relationship with ultracycling and so on. I really dive into some thoughts, and I found some answers, and I had like a really special moment with myself, and I got out from this moment really extremely happy, and it gave me some energy. I was feeling so more energetic, and I finished the night like with a smile on my head, and I was just so happy at this moment. I think the ultracycling challenge is more with your head because it's easy to have legs, but your legs are only useful the first few hours when you can put some power. But after, everything is done with the mind, in my opinion. If you're not positive about what you're doing, you're just adding pain over pain. And I think that's also a part of the reason why I'm doing ultracycling. I really want to learn how to remain positive in difficulties. And that's a philosophy that I really want to develop and in my life or on my bike. I think my answer is always evolving. At first I thought it was only itinerancy, landscape, nature, but why putting so much intensity into it? And I think it's because I'm looking for answers on myself. And those long rides, those rides into the night are giving me some answers. I live difficult moments, but I learn to grow through them. And this is why I'm doing ultracycling. I think doing ultracycling experiences is giving me a lot of knowledges. It helped me grow, and maybe at one point I will less look into that because I would have a certain level of experience and knowledges, and if you need to dive further into the effort to discover some new things, some new parts of yourself, maybe at one point it would be too far. And I don't want to always like push the limits. Where would be the limits? Like going some crazy longer rides. And this is also what I like with this project is it's just all the call of the Tour de France. And that's all. We didn't try to do all the stages and stuff. We just want to do a simple ride in the mountains and doing it in an ultracycling fashion way. And that's all.